Hi, hello friends. Welcome to the today's session. Welcome to Unacademy and welcome to my classes. In this session, we are going to learn the part 2 of transaction management. And before entering into the session, let us say our anthem that crack GATE and ESE with India's largest learning platform, none other than Unacademy. Get Plus subscription and access unlimited live and recorded lectures from India's topmost educators. Dear friends, Unacademy has created a wonderful platform to serve the dedicated students so that you're going to get complete your goals because your goal is an academy's goal. And myself is Srinivasrao IS, having more than 15 years of experience in the GATE with the various subjects, also had industry experience with the relevant certifications. So, throughout my journey of GATE, I taught in many premium academies with a high success rate. Many of my students got completed their post graduation from India's topmost institutions. Dear friends, use this opportunity what the Unacademy is providing, such as you are going to get shortcuts and tips and do's and don'ts and experience from the senior most faculty members, which are all required to crack your GATE examination, as a GATE is a completely negative marking approach. Friends, to get admission into an academy, there are two types of programs, Plus and Iconic. So you may join for any of these course. Iconic is one of the unique program which is offering by an academy, which is a purely a 1:1 personal coach. And which is also having plus inbuilt program. Friends, once you become a subscriber, then you're going to see that unlimited access to the Unacademy portal where you can able to get live sessions, recorded sessions, and live lectures. And according to the plus program, I use my referral code to get the admission into an academy. So this is my referral code. And the current ongoing 2021 students can take 1 month and 3 month subscription where you're going to get recorded lectures as well as you're going to get live mock test and mock quizzes. And according to our regular program, this is a current fourth year may obtain and the second and third year students can take and 1, 2 and third year students can take. So use my referral code to get the admission into an academy. Then you're also going to get a maximized concession amount. So these are the final prices after applying my referral code. And according to Iconic subscription, there are two varieties. One is a long term, the other one super long term. Current fourth year students can opt for this, and first, second, and third year students can opt for this. So, dear friends, use my referral code to get the admission into an academy, even for Iconic too. So, these are the final prices according to this. Friends, let us start our session. That is a schedule. What is a schedule? So, a schedule is nothing but a list of actions where a group of transactions can able to execute. They are all trying to execute, read, write, and commit, and about four actions are there. Last session I said read is nothing but a selection and write is nothing but insertion, updation, and deletion, and other two transaction control language commands like commit and abort statements. So friends, the schedule is mainly see that how it is to execute or it is going to provide timing for the execution of the transactions. So according to the schedule, there are two varieties, serial schedule and concurrent schedule. Now you say, when I'm talking about a schedule is, which consists of two transactions, transaction 1 and transaction 2, where you are going to have read A and write A, and this is read B and write B. So transaction 1 is trying to execute a read action on object A, and transaction 2 is executing read and write action on object B. So dear friends, this is what is the meaning of a schedule. According to the schedule, there are two varieties. One variety is serial execution, the other variety is a non-serial execution. So according to serial execution, so I'm telling you about a normal schedule, read A and write A, and this can be under sharing, and read B and write B. So at last you may have a commit statement in order to prove the atomicity property, and he may also use either commit or abort statement in order to prove atomicity. Now let us see what is the serial schedule. In the serial schedule, the actions are being executed one after another. So all the instructions are get executed in a non-preemptive fashion. One after another, they are going to be executed. So after completion of one transaction, then another transaction is going to begin. There are n factorial serial schedules are possible when there are n transactions are there. In the given schedule, if there are n transactions, I can able to derive n factorial serial schedules. So serial schedules are nothing but a valid schedules. So what is the advantage of a serial schedule? Because one after another we are seeing, that means what? You're going to see your database is going to be in a consistency. So according to the drawback, so it is having a less concurrency because one after another they are going to be executed. That means object is not going to be interleaved among the transactions. So let me show you one serial schedule like this. So there is a T1 which consists a group of actions read write, and there is a T2 which consists a group of actions read write. And how they are executing? First transaction T1 is executed, followed by transaction 2 is started. Now if you look at here, there is a read A and a read B, and after that a read and write actions in the transaction 1 on the objects like A and B. So here, who started initially? T2 started initially, followed by T1 is going to execute. Here T1 is started initially, followed by T2 is going to execute. So here, there is no concept of a concurrency because one after another we are trying to execute. But advantage is superb. What is the advantage? Database, once after completion of your schedule, the database will reach to a consistent state because one after another the transactions are get executed. And the other one is a concurrent or a non-serial, also called as interleaved schedule. So let me give one example here. There is a schedule S with a few transactions like T1 and T2 and T3, and they are having some kind of actions like inside. I have got a read of A, then a write of A, and write of A. Then we have write of B and read of B. So when you give a schedule like this schedule is executing in interleaving fashion. So what is interleaving fashion? The actions are executed based on timing or based on transactions are executed based on preemption. So according to this, first T1 is executing a read of A, then T2 at a timing 2 is executing this, and after that T3, then after that T4, then after that T5. So this is how they are executing. The object is interleaving and transactions are executing in a concurrent manner. So whenever you see this kind of execution, this is called a non-serial. So we want to keep this into a serial execution. How you can able to put it into serial execution? So as I told you, you can derive n factorial serial orders. So one is T1 will start, T3 is going to end, and the middle is T2. The other one, T1 will start, T2 end, in middle T3. And the next one is T2 starts and T1 and T3. Next one, T2 start and T3 and T1. And at the last combinations are T3, T1 and T2 and T3, T2 and T1. So these are all serial derivations only. One after another they are executing. So I will show you one of the combinations how they are being derived into serial fashion. So when you execute like this, T1, T2, T3. So according to the previous example, I am taking actions into S1. So where you will have T1, T2, T3 like this. T1 consists of RA and WB. And after that, T2 consists of WA. Next consists of WA RB. Now you see, this is how it happens. So one of the order I have derived out of your 6 orders. So here n is nothing but 3 transactions. So there you have 3 factorial, which will give you 6 serial orderings. So the one of the order I have written, that 1 followed by 2 followed by 3. So unless and until T1 begin, the T2 cannot able to start. Unless and until T2 begin, the T3 cannot start. That's why 3 depends on 2 and 2 depends on 1. This is how they are executing. And when you look at the other variety, so we want to see that object must be under sharing. So when you want to say that object must be under sharing, then there is a requirement called concurrent or a non-serial or interleaved schedule. What is the meaning? Instructions of the transactions get executed preemptively with the interleaving. So what is the meaning of that? Simultaneous executions of 2 or more transactions. And what is another one? Transactions are executed in a time interval fashion. Transactions are executed time interval. That means object can be under interleave. So when you look at this kind of execution is called as what? Concurrent execution. Advantage is response time is a better and the throughput is going to be very high, and as the name implies, the concurrency is very high. And what is the drawback? So it is going to leads to inconsistency because the object is under sharing. Whenever object is under sharing, there may be a chance of what? Conflicts. So that's why we would like to say that it may fall into inconsistency. So what is the example of your concurrent schedule? So here you see there are different timing sequences are there. First read of A, then write of A, then after that this object is right now is with the T2, then it is performing a write of A, then T1 started read of B and write of B. This is exact a definition for your concurrent schedule. That means object can be shareable by multiple number of transactions in a concept called the preemptive. So here what happened? T1 got suspended and object is by force received by T2 and T2 got executed. This is how it happens. So there is a one important statement. So this is a one important statement. A number of schedules from a given set of transactions. So which is nothing but number of actions in transaction 1, number of actions in transaction 2, and dot dot number of actions in transaction m factorial divided by number of actions in a transaction 1 and number of actions in transaction 2 and number of actions in transaction 3. So these many we are going to get it whenever a schedule is given with a few kind of actions. So I will give you one example. You see, let transaction T1 as ten actions, transaction T2 has 2 actions. So he is asking find the total schedules. These total schedules including of preemptive based execution and non-preemptive based execution, concurrent schedules and serial schedules. Now I give you an equation. What is this equation? You follow this equation, you will get it. So what is that? So 10 actions, 10 plus 2 factorial by 10 factorial into 2 factorial. So these many total number of schedules are available. These total schedules are some are consist of concurrent schedule and some are consist of serial schedule. So can you guess how many serial schedules are there? Yes, I can guess very easily how many serial schedules are there. As there are only 2 transactions, I can write in such a way that 2 factorial. So the 2 factorial is nothing but 2. Serial schedules are 2, remaining all comes under into concurrent schedules only. And why we are calling it as a concurrent schedule? We are calling it as a concurrent schedule for just by swapping actions. So why it has got the name called a concurrent execution? It has got that name because of swapping. So swapping actions. So even after swapping actions, it is not going to have an impact in the result. That's why you can able to do some kind of a swapping which is not going to show any kind of impact. So swapping actions of transactions in the schedule. So now I will show you one example how you can able to swap them. I say there is a schedule S which consists of 2 actions like T1 and T2, which consist of R of A and W of A, which consist of R of A which consist of R of A and W of B. He is asking you to arrange into different varieties of schedules. arrange into varieties of schedules. So the first one, if you understand, so some I'm going to identify in a serial execution, some I'm going to identify in concurrent execution. So you know how many are serial and how many are concurrent. Based on that, we are going to segregate. Serial schedules are 2 factorial, which is nothing but a 2. And the concurrent schedules are total schedules minus your serial schedules. Total schedules minus serial schedules. How many are the total schedules? So we know the equation to derive the total schedules. That is 2 plus 2 factorial by 2 factorial into 2 factorial, which is nothing but a 6, minus your serial schedules are 2. Then you are going to get 4 preemptive based executions. So by taking these actions, this is one of your similar question in 2012 GATE question. So by taking these actions, we want to segregate into total 6 varieties only you're going to get, not more than then, just by doing a call swapping. So I'm doing a swapping. By doing a swapping, it is going to produce a new way to execute your schedule in a concurrent fashion. So first variety, I will fix it serial execution. So total 6 combinations we are getting. First I am executing serial. So when you talk about the serial execution, according to the schedule, I can able to derive two schedules, S1 and S2, which consist of two transactions T1 and T2, and the other one consists of two transactions T1 and T2. In first form, I am going to write an order called T1 followed by T2, and in the second form, I am going to take a T2 followed by T1. So first T1 will execute followed by T2 will execute. So T1 RAWB, and after this it is going to execute WB. Then here it is executing in such a way RAWB. After this it is going to execute. So two serial orders we got completed. So just we are doing what a swapping of an action. What is a swapping of an action? First this executed, then this executed, then this executed, this executed. Don't do internal swapping. What is internal swapping? Don't try to swap this action and this action like this. However, the order is given in the same order we need to follow. Otherwise, the meaning of the particular schedule is going to be wrong. Conflicts are going to be different. That's why, however, the schedule is given in the same way we want to execute the actions, but you can change the timings. So two are already completed. Now we are concentrating on to concurrent execution. So your concurrent execution is telling you 4 totally, because total 6 minus 2 serial schedules, it is going to give you 4. Now let me take a schedule 1, which consists of T1 and T2. Now let us begin. So 4 timings I am writing: T1, T2, T3 and T4. So this is R of A, and now I will give a chance to T2. Now it is coming front before writing of B of your T1. This is how you can swap the timings. Now after that the chance will come to T2. Now here what is going to happen? So first this, after the chance goes to T2, again chance goes to T1, then it is going to execute. The second variety of schedule is also there. The schedule 2 consists of T1 and T2, which is having, I'm going to write a reverse. First, I will begin T2, then T2 is going to preempt by T1 and it is going to acquire the object. Then after that, the control will goes to T2. So after that, I am giving a chance to T1. This is another way to execute it. And two more alternatives are there. If I am taking S3, T1 and T2, now you see how they will execute. So as usually, I will execute here R of A. Then I will give a chance to T2 to get execute completely R of A and W of B. Then I will execute my next action, that is called W of B. Here what is happening? T1 it begins and it completes at T4. And if you look at the schedule 4, this is the last variety you will get. You will not have more than this. So this is a T1 and this is a T2. And now the T2 first begins and it ends its own. So RA and WA. Now WB. Now we will give a chance to T1 to execute in the middle and complete it. So this is how you can able to talk what? Concurrent execution. If at all there are some commit or abort statements are there, then how are you going to segregate? That also I am going to show you. So there is a schedule S which consists of T1 and T2. So this is a read A and a write A, then commit. This also consists the same read A and write A and a commit. Now he is asking a dash number of concurrent executions. So I can do swapping. The swapping of your actions in the transaction is nothing but concurrent execution order. Now, how many total schedules I can able to produce? It is a 3 plus 3 factorial by 3 factorial into 3 factorial and minus your two serial schedules. So few orders I will write, not all, remaining you all know. You will automatically come to know how to write the order. Even there are some commit and abort statements are there. So one order I am writing. So schedule S1. So T1 get begin and T2 is starting. Now we are keeping R of A, then W of A. Then I say commit. After this, you will start R of A, W of A and commit. You know this is a completely serial order. One after another we are executing, not in the form of preemption. And if I am taking another schedule T says 2, now you identify, am I writing a serial or am I writing a concurrent? Now I am taking it like this. He is starting, then he is taking preempted. Now after that he is started, and after that he is taken. After that I am using a commit. After that he is using a commit. So this is one of your order called concurrent schedule. So likewise, I can write many of the forms according to this equation. So we need to follow this equation. So what are the problems with concurrent schedule, friends? The problem with a concurrent schedule is nothing but a what? Conflicts naturally will occur. So this is one example which I already spoke. How many number of schedules? So 5 plus 3 factorial by 5 factorial into 3 factorial. Now, as I told you that there are some kind of a conflicts are possible, especially in concurrent schedule, obviously. But serial schedule may or may not, but concurrent schedule, obviously, whenever you are exchanging your item, before commit any object is shared by others, then automatically there may be a chance of what? Conflicts. So what is the conflict and what are the different varieties of conflicts we will discuss in the continued session. So what is a conflict? If two or more transactions are fighting for the same object or racing for the same object, then it is called as a conflict. And you see that it should be at least one right action among them. So if two transactions you want to say that they are under conflict in the sense they are fighting for the same object and different transactions, one action must be right action, which may be in a T1 or maybe in a T2. Now when you talk about types of conflicts, there are WR and RW and WW. So let us see this particular point. When I am talking about a Schedule S, which consists of a group of transactions like this, and I want to identify the conflicts. I say R of A and R of A. There is no conflict in this. Why no conflict in the sense one action must be what? Right. RR is not at all a conflict, even though they are accessing same object. When I say T1 and T2, so R of A and W of A, so it is also no conflict. Why it is a no conflict? Because they are accessing by same transaction. It should be other transaction. Now I am taking a Schedule S which consists T1 and T2, and I am talking a read of A and I am giving a read of write of B. I can assure that there also are no conflict. Why no conflict? So our rules are satisfied. What is that? Minimum of two transactions, and what is that? Object must be under sharing and one object must be right. But here this transaction 1 is using object A and transaction 2 is using object B, hence it is not going to be what? A conflict. So conflict in the sense it should be in such a way that object must be same and minimum two transactions and one particular action must be right, like this. Now read on A and write on A. This is one of your conflict. So which kind of a conflict it is? From lower to upper you need to cross check. So this is the conflict called R and W. So if you are taking a Schedule S which consists of T1 and T2, so timing 1 and timing 2, I started perform initially right and is trying to perform a read on to me. This is also one kind of a conflict. It is WR. If you look at another Schedule S which consists of T1 and T2 and both are writing on each other, so he also let's start right and he is also letting it write and he is also letting it write. So this kind of a conflict is called as right. So this is a right conflict. So now we want to see that three different varieties of conflicts are there. One is RW, the other one WR, the other one WW. What is RW? It is called as an unrepeatable read. RW called as unrepeatable read and WR is called as a dirty read and WW is called as a what lost update or overwriting conflict. So first let us examine your WR conflict. It is other name called reading uncommitted data. Also very important point called the dirty read, also called as a temporary update. What is the meaning of that? A transaction could read a database object A that has been very latest modified by another transaction T1, which is not yet committed. This is a very important point. So how are you going to write them? So you take a schedule S which consists of two transactions like T1 and T2, and let us say salary is equal to something like 100. Now T1 is start modifying, salary is equal to sal plus 100. So is performing a write on your salary, and this is not committed. Now you observe carefully, this is in a buffer. Now the value goes to 200. Unfortunately, if somebody preempt me and they are accessing a read on sal, so when they access read on sal, then what is going to happen? He will come to know that he can able to read the value from your shared buffer. If I say, then he got 200. And after some time, the owner got access. He wants to do what? Abort. When he perform abort, his local buffer is going to be flushed off. So therefore, it is trying to reach to 100. So when you have this kind of a situation, it is called as a what? Reading uncommitted data. So this transaction 2 is doing a read operation. The T1 is not uncommitted. So that's why you see the WR conflict in the sense the object which must not be committed and you are trying to do what? A read. For example, the same actions I'm going to write here. There is a schedule S and a transaction T1 is issuing like this. So sal is equal to sal plus 100 and W of sal 200 it becomes. He issued a commit. After that, myself reading it, then you're going to read a value as 200, no doubt. This is a not uncommitted read. It is a reading a committed data. Because it's already committed and you are trying to read means what? This is a reading committed data. So this is the point of reading committed data. So this is a reading uncommitted data. So whenever you do read uncommitted data, then you please observe that there may be a chance of what? Abort statement. If at all the owner performs, then automatically the value goes to the previous. There may be a chance of some time called irrecoverability, and there may be a chance of what? Cascading rollbacks. So those problems you are going to see, especially whenever you have a concept called WR conflict. So this is how about a WR conflict. So W versus read, which is nothing but uncommitted read. This is also called as a dirty read. And the other kind of a conflict is a unrepeatable read. It is also called as, so you cannot able to goes to the previous value. It is also called as incorrect summary problem. So sometimes it also may goes to phantom problem. Now let us cross check one sample example. So there is a schedule S which consists of few transactions like T1 and T2, and which I am having. First I am performing a read of sal. So initially we guess your salary is equal to something like 100. Then I am saying sal is equal to sal plus 100, then W of sal. So the W of sal will be altogether is a 200. So if I do like this and I am issuing some kind of a commit, then I can call it as that. No conflicts at all here, because already you reached to what? Consistent state. So if you not write the situation like this, so I'm writing a situation for RW. Why it is called as incorrect summary? Let sal begin with 100. As usually, T1 performs a read of sal. Then he come to know that 100 is the value, it is rare. Then immediately this is preempted by somebody, and he is saying that he is writing it. I'm in the progress, he is writing it. So he is saying write off sal. That's it. The salary goes to 200 here. And if he committed, for example, then what will happen? So the transaction one thinks that the value at 100 I performed read operation, but when you perform read once again, then you're finding a new value instead of 100. What is that value? 200 you are performing. This is what is the meaning of incorrect summary. What is incorrect summary? Earlier somewhat value has come, now I'm reading some other value. So once you perform a read action, you're going to get a different value. Let's cross check. So there is a schedule S which consists of two transactions T1 and T2, and I say a read of sal. So initially the salary with 100, and after that he is performing sal is equal to sal plus 100, then write off sal. So the salary value goes to 200 and this value goes to 100. Now you observe, when I perform once again read of salary, then I am going to get incorrect salary value. You're going to get incorrect salary value. So this problem is called as a what? R with right conflict. So the transaction T1 is in the process and T2 is trying to do what? Right action. And the next one is overwriting each other. So this is RW conflict. Next one is overwriting each other. It's also called as a lost update, also called as write-write conflict. So this is an example. We want to put it like this. The salary value is given as like this. And two transactions they are executing T1 and T2. And E is performing sal is equal to sal plus 100. Then he got write off sal, which is 200. So somebody takes it and he is also doing sal is equal to sal plus 100. Then write off sal. Then the salary value reached to 300. So what is happening? This 200 is overwritten. This 200 is overwritten. So when I do, So I got a chance. Now when I do here, sal is equal to sal plus 100, then you will get a right of sal. Then it is going to become some value like this. Then this value is a what? Overwritten. So this is how the transactions are overwriting each other is also leads to inconsistency. Hence it is designated as a what? Conflict. So this is one of the example of losing your update. So initially x is equal to x minus 5. So initially let us say some value I have taken x is equal to x minus 5. He is also doing read x. Then he is performing some kind of x is equal to x plus 10. Then after that write x. Then after that write x. So what will happen? This write action is being overwritten here. It is overwriting. So what is the other kind of conflict? Blind write. So blind write is saying that a transaction is writing without reading an object value is a blind write. Naturally, this is a realistic conflict where we see regularly. For example, you want to book tickets from some website where you can able to get the tickets online. So book my tickets. If you go, then it is going to show you that how many tickets are available. So unless and until you know the tickets are available or not, you are not allowed to do any kind of a booking. So that's why first of all you need to go for select operation. Then after that you go for what? Booking operation. So everybody must able to view that how many tickets are available, whether available. If available, you book it. That is the condition. If not available, don't book it. It's not possible to do it. That means before you want to do book in real time, what is doing? Before you want to book, first you need to check for what? Availability. So that availability is nothing but a what? Selection. So first you do selection, then after that you go for what? Updation or deletion, whatever it may be. And one more example, you go to ATM and you are trying to withdraw money. So before withdraw money, you need to see that first of all how much balance is there. If a balance is not there, then you're going to get an error that insufficient balance. That's why first we want to see that a transaction is going to by force to perform a read. Then after that it is trying to do what? Execution. But sometime we are also maybe overlook that you are going to do directly write operation without reading, which leads to a big problem, damage. So that kind of a situation is called as a blind write. So what is a blind write? Writing an object value without reading. So read A, okay, he understand that some selection operation is going on, then do write operation. So is directly performing a write action without doing any kind of a read. This kind of a situation is a concept called as what? Blind writes. Friends, you observe what are the different kinds of conflicts are available here. I say there is a schedule S which consists of T1 and T2, and I am saying R of A and W of B and W of B and a commit and a abort. So dash conflict is existed. So the answer is a what? RA to WB. Object is a different. I cannot say that it is a conflict. W to B, WB, there is a conflict. So we come to know that here to here there is a conflict. Then after that, that's it. There are no any kind of actions below your this particular action. So we come to know that there is a conflict from transaction T to transaction 1. The conflict is a WW on object B. So if I am taking another schedule S, so which is having a three transactions T1, T2 and T3, and we are having R of A and W of A, and this is W of B, then commit, then W of B. Now he is asking dash number of conflicts are there. So we need to be good enough to prove the conflicts, friends. So let us start the timing sequence. So timing sequence 1, sequence 2, sequence 3 and sequence 4. Now here to here there is a conflict, and here to here there is no conflict. And next one, here to here there is no conflict because object is different. Then you are thinking that here to here there is a conflict. So, but you observe carefully, it is given a what? Commit in between. And another example, if you look at, there is the schedule S, which is having T1, T2 and T3. So they are having a different kinds of actions like R of A, W of B and W of A and W of B and R of B. So we want to identify different conflicts here. So here to here there is a conflict, here to here there is a conflict, and here to here no conflict, here to here no conflict, but here to here there is a conflict. So this is how the schedule may comes into what? Concept of conflicts. Sometime he may also ask you like this, there is a schedule S which consists of T1 and T2, and he is asking R of A and W of B and W of A. Then if I ask that what kind of a conflict it is, then I can able to say that what kind of a conflict it is. It is nothing but what? RA with a WA, which is nothing but a what? Unrepeatable read. It is a unrepeatable read conflict. It's nothing but incorrect summary. So what conflict it is? It is a incorrect summary, also called as unrepeatable read. Incorrect summary. And last example, if I am saying that there is a schedule S which consists of T1 and T2 and T3. Now I am posting into three transactions like this. He started initially R of A, then I started initially W of B, then it is a W of C, then it is a R of D, then it is a W of E. He is asking what kind of a conflict it is. Number one, it is an incorrect summary. Number two, is it a dirty read? Number three, is it a overwriting? Or number four, you may also call it none of the above. So you all know the answer very well because you have followed the session carefully. So this transaction 3 do not have any conflicts with others. And this W of B do not have any conflicts with others. This W of C do not have any conflicts with others, and R of D do not have any kind of a conflicts others. That's why it is not 100% sure that the conflicts are going to come. So you want to say that conflict in the sense we understand three important conditions to be satisfied. One is object must be same. One is object must be same. And the second one is that one operation must be right. One action must be right. Then only we can call it as a what? It's a conflict. So I can call in this case is a what? No conflicts are existed in this. There is no incorrect summary and no dirty read and no overwriting each other. That's it, friends. This is how about a schedule which consists of read, write, commit, abort or rollback. Now schedule consists of a series of actions in the transactions, and the transactions can be swapped each other. That means what? The actions can be swapped. Transaction order also can be swapped. By swapping the transaction order, it is called as what? Serial execution. You will get one after another. By swapping the actions within your transaction, then you're going to get a concurrent execution. Serial execution, we believe that consistency will come, but concurrent execution, there may be a chance of conflicts. So when the conflicts are there, you're trying to read or write the data from the buffers. Therefore, it is going to give you inconsistency. So in the next schedule, we are going to learn about serializable schedules. So what is a serializability? And by identifying these conflicts, you can also prove conflict serializability and view serializability. We will see. So you need to be very good enough in order to prove three different varieties of conflicts. They are RW, WR, and WW. Well, friends, Let's Crack GATE CSE is our YouTube channel. Use my referral code to get the admission into Unacademy. Subscribe our channel. Stay tuned to me and my classes. Thank you very much.